Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alphanine. Now, I want to talk about XLM today because I believe that Stellar, the Stellar Foundation anyway, is a sneaky, right? I mean, is it just me? They just don't talk about XLM a lot. They talk about USDC, and I guess we're supposed to infer because of, transaction fees and the necessity of, according to their own website, you have to hold Stellar lumens in an account. The minimum is 1 lumen, right? So in order to use Stellar, you must use lumens. You must use XLM. So, I mean, the reality should be, if we go by what they have stated, that each account, right? And some people will have multiple accounts, companies that use that particular offering USDC or any offering on the Stellar network must hold some amount of XLM, right? Which is a great thing. So really, it doesn't matter too much what the Stellar Foundation tells us. We can just go by the white papers on their actual website and go by what they actually say in the printings on their website, stellar.org. Okay, so let's just go over this a little bit here, because the price of Stellar is just a matter of time, just like with XRP, just like with Algorand, before that price explodes. And this is not even including the fact that XLM rises every single time that XRP rises. Okay, just check that out. If you're new to crypto, I know we have a lot of new listeners. Go ahead and research that every time XRP rises, XLM rises with it. They have this relationship where they're sort of tied to each other. I think everyone knows that. But putting that aside, let's just take some things into account before we read a few things here, right? So you have Moneygram, right, which is not built on, sorry about that, utilizing Stellar. They're going to have tons of transactions going across Stellar with USDC. Each account, that means each person, I'm not sure how many people are using Moneygram, but I'm sure they're going to make a big push. And they're because listen, they're going to be saving more money and making more money because they're bringing more people in. It's more now. MoneyGram is more accessible. It has become superior to what it once was. They'll be able to reallocate money efficiently, and that's going to bring more business, which means they will have more money, right? But with more money coming across the blockchain, Stellar, via MoneyGram, that means more accounts will be holding lumens. There will be more lumens used for transaction fees. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but we have to read these documents very carefully. Now, so the minimum for transaction fees is 0.00001 lumen. So it's 4 zeros, okay? In case I said one extra or something like that. That's a little bit. However, keep in mind, I said this last year, you have to keep in mind, this is something they put out there because it looks good to companies they want to do deals with. You don't want to give a company the maximum because they may say, that's too much. Another company is cheaper, because there are equivalent offerings out there. I mean, maybe they're not cheaper, but you have like Hedera, you have XRP, you have Algorand. Their transaction fees are pretty good. So you want to put this up here and keep in mind, it is the minimum. Okay. Now, most institutions that will be using MoneyGram, and we'll go over that as well. Most institutions that we will be using WorldWire from IBM. Most institutions that will be using Lightnet, which is trying to replace Swift. XLM is in so many big places, it's ridiculous to even think that its price is going to stay where it is now. And keep in mind now, what is it, like 11 cents, 10 cents? People are accumulating. Not only are they accumulating, keep in mind those who believe that they know the right time to buy a large bag of it, right? They have advisors or they're just researchers. They're heavy researchers, even heavier than myself. And they believe that they know the catalyst to get in at the right time and buy a huge bag at a reasonable price, right? So they're accumulating little by little, but they also have these dates in mind where they're going to buy up before the market explodes again. Right? Because there are going to be indicators and catalysts that make the market explode back into a bull run, even if it's temporary. Who knows how long these bear runs and bull runs are going to last? We have no idea, especially with the utility era around the corner. So now let's get back to the point. We talked about Lightnet, IBM, you have MoneyGram. Now think about all of these transactions. We're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars worth of transactions. Right? I mean, at some point, given a long amount of time, of course, it's going to take years, right? So I'm not talking about immediately, but some point in the future, we're going to be scraping. I believe this, whether it's per year, per month, who knows how far Stellar can go. I mean, hopefully they continue to work well. And they have a lot of entities like IBM, LightNet, Velo Labs and stuff, which is actually a wing of Stellar. You know, I mean, the owner of Velo Labs, or CEO, is also the CEO of Interstellar, the commercial wing of Stellar, which also has been very quiet. Are you guys seeing this? How they're so quiet? So you have all these entities utilizing Stellar, bringing in clients that have to hold lumens around the world, utilizing the lumens in their transactions for whatever they want to deploy to the Stellar chain, because XLM is necessary to pay the transaction fees, right? Sort of like Quant. When anybody joins the Quant network, yeah, sure, you can send your fiat across the Quant network, but you got to use QNT for the transaction, for the transaction fees. So you have all of that. What does it do to that price? We're talking hundreds of billions of dollars, and in the future, I believe it'll be scraping trillions. Trillions, okay? It's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of work, and I think IBM is the key to get there. I think LightNet will play a big part. It definitely will if they continue to work hard, and they actually are able to replace Swift in Southeast Asia, and then, keep with their word of wanting to expand outside of Southeast Asia to also continue to replace Swift. That's a whole lot of money moving across Stellar blockchain. That's a whole lot of money that is, moving across XLM, using it to hold accounts open. Remember, the more lumens that you hold, I believe the more efficient the transactions occur. Not only that, priority. So transaction fees, we get into that. With transaction fees, and let's see if we can pull that up here. When surge pricing kicks in, transaction fees go up. Now, they don't indicate how high transaction fees can go, but I can guarantee you it's not going to be 0.00001 lumen. It's not going to be that. Surge pricing will be, I think, based on, I believe that's what they said, based on who has the higher amounts going across the blockchain. They will be prioritized. But if you have a higher amount going across the blockchain, and that's what they're prioritizing, that means the transaction fees are going to be higher, which means what for XLM? More XLM is being used, which means the price has to go up. I think this is just logical, right? So I believe that a large portion of that is going to come from IBM and their WorldWire offering. WorldWire, I believe, has been integrated or will be integrated with their IBM cloud offerings for banks. Right now, keep in mind that IBM is bringing a large portion of the top banks in the world to their IBM cloud for financing offering. Right? We went over that article a long time ago. Anybody can look that up. I believe it was something like 20 or 25 of the top 50 banks IBM will be working with. Now, to what degree or to what extent they will be using WorldWire, we have no idea. That's something we have to wait and see. But we can keep an eye on that, and I'm sure there will be announcements into the future. But all of this is taking time. Now, I want to circle back around. A lot of these institutions have been quiet on how they're utilizing XLM. Some of them even going to the extent, like LightNet, in my opinion, which I'm so glad I made that video. So all the evidence and all the screenshots and everything are in that video about Stellar and LightNet that I made last year. But LightNet and other companies have removed the fact that, well, they can't remove the articles on the internet that they're using Stellar protocol, right? They can't do that. But on their website, they kind of minimized it because they integrated everything into their offering that they call BridgeNet, right? But it doesn't change the nature that everything is built, right, on Stellar, on the Stellar blockchain. They were using Stellar protocol at the core of what they're doing. I believe also they were also utilizing HBAR to a different capacity. I don't know if they're still doing that, right? However, everyone has been very quiet about XLM, right? So I believe it's because, it's just my humble opinion, it's because they want that big money. They want to bring in the big money, and they can't have retail making the price so volatile, right? So they're keeping the prices down in one way, not only because the economies are down, but because they're not talking about it. They're not hyping it up at all. And it's not because a YouTuber talks about it. So some people will say, well, you YouTubers talk about XLM, so why should they have to pay for marketing? That is the silliest thing I've ever heard in my life. I mean, and you're giving YouTubers way too much credit. You really are. When you want to reach the rest of the world, you're going to have to do some serious marketing. You're going to have billboards like Algorand. Look at a professional company like Algorand that's respected by presidents of companies. What type of advertising are they doing? You need traditional and non-traditional advertising. So to think otherwise is quite foolish in my humble opinion. So you're going to need billboards. You're going to need race car drivers and sports figures promoting your brand, wearing your brand on their jerseys and racing uniforms. You're going to need zoos to post to sell your Algorand NFTs, your Stellar NFTs. You're going to need airports like Algorand did to post Algorand, the Algorand billboard up at your or poster up at your airport. You need things like that, right? So that's silly. So no, they're not doing promotion because they don't want retail having this right now. I know what Stellar said before about being a people's coin and we want to help the unbanked. That just sounds good. You have to understand a lot of these companies, the way they get over, the way they seem innocent, the way they creep in is to convince everybody they want to help them. It is a company. Now, I know there's a nonprofit portion of the company. There's also a portion of the company that a lot of different facets that are going to make money. They're going to bring in money, okay? I mean, we don't really have to get into that, but like I said, isn't Interstellar the commercial wing of Stellar, right? So the Stellar Foundation is independent. This is what they say. Like, all of this is very, very, in my opinion, it's very, very iffy, right? I'll just say that because I don't want to go too deep and get into any trouble. But, you know, with a lot of these companies, you have the for-profit aspect of that blockchain, and then you have like the so-called quote-unquote foundation of the blockchain, which is non-profit, right? So yeah, there's that. And if I'm wrong, people can correct me. I'm open to being corrected. I'm open to learning. But let's get back to the matter at hand. You have 50 billion lumens. They're trying to use lumens around the world with large institutions. This is from the Moneygram 2021 financials. Okay, you know I had to go there. You know I had to look at that. So let's just take a look at this interesting sentence that shows that even more money than what Moneygram is bringing, and Moneygram is connected to this, but more than that, more than IBM, more than LightNet may be moving across Stellar. This is why they're keeping it quiet. They need these large financial institutions to adopt it. Check this sentence out. It says, in the US, we have agreements. This is Moneygram from the Moneygram 2021 financials, okay? In the US, we have agreements with 4 active clearing banks that provide clearing and processing functions for official checks, money orders, and draft instruments. There you have it. There you have it. So tie it all together. That is unbelievable. Tie it all together. Now, so you have the money that Moneygram, the capital that Moneygram usually moves across its platform, that will be moving across Stellar via USDC, utilizing Lumens for transaction fees and to hold open accounts. Keep in mind, you have to have like a certain amount of lumens. It was like 1 lumen to open an account, or I'm not sure if it changes based upon the amount of fiat you want to put in or not. I don't know how that works, but you have to have some lumens. So their lumens are being used in that way also to have an account, sort of like what XRP does, but theirs is a 10 XRP account requirement, which I respect a little bit more. It makes it a little bit more secure and takes it out of the hands of retail. However, anyway, let's continue on here. And obviously Stellar wouldn't want to do that because they want retail to have to take part in this, because that was a part of their mission from the outset. 4 clearing banks will be moving money across Moneygram, which is now utilizing Stellar blockchain. Those clearinghouses have a lot of cross-border money to move around, right? A lot of payments that they can move through Moneygram. Now, to what capacity they can do that, or you know, or how to what capacity they may use Moneygram, I don't know, but I know that there's good money there, a lot of money. We looked at the annuals of Bank of America recently. We looked at Santander recently. Bank of America, at least Bank of America Corp, is one of the clearing institutions, I believe, within the United States. So they're moving a good amount of money, and they're using Moneygram. Why would they not use USDC? to some capacity, whether it's for cross-border payments or just sending money anywhere. You can use these blockchains to send money anywhere. Some people forget that. I never forget that. That's a lot of money that could be moving across XLM. And if it does, there's no guarantees, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but if it does, that price will explode. So now let's get into this portion of the video, okay, just to close it out. Now, do I believe that XLM can make it to $2? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I believe it can make it to $2. It will be with great struggle. I think at $1, there is I don't want to say $1. You know what? When it gets to 60 cents to 70 cents, you're going to see a negative psychological level hit because of all the times that Stellar was going up and then it just plummeted. It just had a dip or it had a correction. People have post-traumatic stress syndrome about that. So they're going to take profits quickly. So I expect some sort of struggle on the way to $1, okay? A lot of dips, a lot of corrections, a lot of doubt until you see some consolidation. Once you see some consolidation, it will embolden people to buy a little bit more, hold a little bit more, take a little bit more of a chance as they believe just a little bit more. So then you get to, let's blow past a couple of other prices and let's say we go to $1.30. If we go to $1.30, I believe that with struggle consolidation, probably a dip down to 120, then we will probably go to $1.50. Now, I'm basing this on what I've seen Stellar do before. Now, also, I want to take into account XRP's price movement because for some reason, XRP price has a great impact on XLM. If XRP can keep going up during this next bull run or with regulatory clarity or mass adoption, any of those, pick one. If it keeps going up, then Stellar might keep going up as well. So let's take that into account. Let's play with that for a second and say that Stellar makes it past $1.30 and it will make it to 150 in my humble opinion, just based on that alone, because I think XRP will have a strong run in the next bull run. Very, very strong, especially if this case ends by the end of this year, the SEC case, or next year. It doesn't make a difference. When that occurs, I believe both of these coins may experience a little bit of a uptick. And if that happens, then people are going to take profits, and I definitely don't blame them. So then, yes, of course, I believe with much struggle, it will make it to $2 the hard way. The hard way. Once we get to that range of, I believe, $1.70 to $1.90, you are going to see a lot of struggle, a lot of volatility, dips, corrections. If we can see some consolidation for a while, I would be very happy with that, because I think, like I said, people will begin to believe a little bit. They want to see that $2, and you know what? For me, it doesn't even have to reach $2 at that point. It just has to scrape $2, like, $1.98, $1.95, and then people are going to start taking profits heavily. I expect a massive correction if it makes it there. There's no guarantees. I'm just giving you my humble opinion based on what I've seen in the market over the years. That, and I'm also combining some of my experience from the stock market, which I was in before I was into crypto. Okay, so. And I'm one of those guys who goes back and looks at the charts for what happened years before and the correlation between XLM and XRP, the correlation between the crypto and the rest of the crypto market. So that's how I feel about that. It will get to $2 the hard way with a lot of hard work. And that's not taken into account when all of these banks step in. That's a completely different run. That's a completely different explosion if they can get IBM to bring those banks in, Lightnet to do the cross-border payments, Stellar Foundation itself with whatever it's going to be bringing to the table, and MoneyGram obviously with 4 clearinghouse banks coming to MoneyGram to possibly use USDC and Stellar. If all of that were to occur, then there's a different type of explosion. We would have to have a different conversation. But what I just went over is without any of that other stuff happening. This is just about in the next bull run, regulatory clarity, mass adoption, and the mass elimination of many of the other cryptocurrencies. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.